Ernest Borgnine was born Ernest Borgnine on January 24, 1917, in Hamden, Connecticut, the son of Italian immigrants Anna and Camillo Borgnine. His early life was shaped by modest means, cultural tradition, and the realities of a working-class household. When his parents separated, Borgnine spent part of his youth in Italy before returning to the United States, an experience that broadened his worldview and strengthened his adaptability. Those early disruptions instilled resilience and humility rather than bitterness. Borgnine often spoke of his upbringing with gratitude, crediting it for keeping him grounded even after fame arrived. He never tried to polish away his origins. Instead, he leaned into them. The broad smile, booming voice, and approachable warmth that audiences later loved were not affectations but reflections of a man shaped by real life, rather than privilege, ambition rather than entitlement. A sailor before an actor. Long before Hollywood entered his life, Borgnine committed himself to service. In 1935, he enlisted in the United States Navy, beginning a nearly 10-year military career that included active duty throughout World War II. Rising to the rank of gunner's mate first class, Borgnine took immense pride in his service, often describing the Navy as one of the defining influences of his character. The discipline, structure, and camaraderie of military life stayed with him forever. Even decades later, he was frequently seen wearing his Navy cap in public, not as a symbol of nostalgia, but of identity. The experience informed many of his later performances, particularly roles involving authority, leadership, and moral responsibility. Unlike some actors who adopted military bravado on screen, Borgnine had lived it. That authenticity became one of his greatest strengths and a standard by which he quietly judged others. A late and fearless leap into acting. After the war, Borgnine faced an uncertain future. With no acting background and no industry connections, he made the bold decision to study drama at the Randall School of Dramatic Art in Hartford, Connecticut. He approached acting the same way he had approached the Navy, with seriousness, discipline, and humility. Beginning on the stage, he worked steadily, learning technique and earning respect rather than chasing fame. His film breakthrough came in 1953 with From Here to Eternity, where his chilling performance as Sergeant Fatso Judson demonstrated his intensity and range. The role immediately marked him as a formidable screen presence. He was not handsome in the traditional sense, nor did he attempt to be. Instead, Borgnine offered something rarer: emotional honesty and unvarnished realism. Hollywood took notice, and his career accelerated almost overnight. The triumph of Marty and artistic respect. In 1955, Borgnine achieved what few actors ever do when he starred in Marty, portraying a shy, lonely Bronx butcher longing for connection. The performance was tender, restrained, and profoundly human. It earned him the Academy Award for Best Actor and brought international acclaim. Marty won the Palme d'Or at Cannes and became a cultural landmark precisely because it celebrated ordinariness with dignity. Borgnine's victory was widely seen as a triumph of substance over glamour. He never treated the award as validation of superiority, but as recognition of honest work. The role expanded perceptions of leading men and proved that vulnerability could carry a film. From that point forward, Borgnine was trusted not just as a character actor, but as a performer capable of anchoring deeply emotional stories without artifice or ego. A career defined by range and longevity. Over the next several decades, Borgnine built one of the most prolific careers in entertainment history, appearing in more than 200 film and television projects. From The Dirty Dozen to The Wild Bunch, The Poseidon Adventure, and Escape from New York. He moved effortlessly between genres. He never considered any role beneath him, believing that commitment mattered more than screen time. On television, he reached new audiences as Lieutenant Commander Quentin McHale in McHale's Navy, showcasing impeccable comedic timing. Later, his voice work as Mermaid Man in SpongeBob SquarePants endeared him to a new generation. What tied his performances together was sincerity. Borgnine did not chase trends. He showed up prepared, enthusiastic, and grateful to be working, even well into his 90s. Personal life, turbulence, and growth. Borgnine's personal life was complex and eventful, marked by 5 marriages that reflected different stages of his emotional development. His first marriage to Rhoda Kemmons produced a daughter, Nancy, and coincided with his early Hollywood rise. Later marriages brought glamour, intensity, and at times instability, most notably his brief union with Ethel Merman, which became legendary for its brevity. Borgnine never denied his volatility in younger years. Instead, he acknowledged it openly, often with humor and humility. His 4th marriage brought him deeper into fatherhood, while his 5th and final marriage to Tova Tresnes provided lasting peace. With Tova, Borgnine found balance, partnership, and emotional stability. Their decades-long marriage represented the maturity he had earned, rather than stumbled upon. Personality, principles, and strong opinions. Ernest Borgnine was widely admired not just for his talent, but for his authenticity. He spoke plainly, laughed loudly, and held strong opinions. He disliked pretension, vanity, and what he viewed as superficial ambition. His Navy background reinforced his belief in professionalism and respect for the craft. Borgnine valued preparation, punctuality, and humility, and he was never shy about expressing frustration when those standards were ignored. That bluntness endeared him to many, but also created friction. He did not cultivate grudges easily, but when he felt values were fundamentally misaligned, he preferred distance over confrontation. Borgnine believed acting was work, not image building. That belief shaped how he evaluated colleagues and contributed to tensions with actors whose approach differed sharply from his own. Professional friction and creative distance. Among Borgnine's more discussed professional tensions was his strained relationship with Tony Curtis, particularly during and after their work on the Vikings in 1958. The friction was not rooted in a single incident, but in contrasting temperaments and philosophies. Borgnine valued understatement and discipline, while Curtis embraced glamour and star power. On set, their working styles reportedly clashed, leading to mutual frustration. Borgnine found excessive concern with appearance or screen time distracting, while Curtis represented a different Hollywood tradition. Importantly, Borgnine never launched personal attacks nor sought public feuds. His criticisms were general, often aimed at broader industry behaviors rather than individuals. Over time, the distance remained, not fueled by anger, but by incompatibility. For Borgnine, respect required shared values more than shared success, aging reflection, and lasting presence. Unlike many stars, Borgnine aged publicly and joyfully. He continued working well into his 90s, attending conventions, giving interviews, and connecting with fans. In 1962, he quit smoking after decades of heavy use, a decision that likely contributed to his longevity. He spoke candidly about health, aging, and gratitude, often expressing disbelief at how long his career had lasted. Fame never replaced curiosity or joy. He remained approachable, generous with stories, and enthusiastic about new projects. Borgnine viewed his life not as a series of triumphs, but as opportunities earned through persistence. His resilience was not loud or dramatic. It was steady. Even in his later years, he remained a working actor in spirit, never retiring from the identity that had given his life meaning. Final years, an enduring legacy. Ernest Borgnine passed away on July 8, 2012, at the age of 95 due to renal failure at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center in Los Angeles. He was cremated and honored with a military funeral, reflecting both his cinematic legacy and his proud Navy service. Tributes poured in from across the entertainment world, celebrating not only his talent but his generosity and humanity. Borgnine left behind more than performances. He left an example of authenticity in an industry built on illusion. His life demonstrated that longevity comes from sincerity, that greatness does not require polish, and that respect is earned through consistency. While disagreements and tensions existed, they never defined him. What endures is a body of work, a reputation for kindness, and a life lived fully, loudly, and honestly.